ever just walk into a room and just feel the tension? No one says anything, but you know that something is off. This, my friends, is culture. Peter Drucker said it best. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. Oh, don't you love that? But here's what most leaders miss. Culture isn't what you say, it's what you do consistently, and it's what you allow regularly. That's why your real culture isn't in your handbook, it's in your hallways. Not your declarations, but your daily decisions and actions. So the question isn't just what are we building, it's who are we becoming as we build what we're called to build. Every organization already has a culture, intentional or accidental. And over the years, I've been part of teams and organizations with good culture, and I've been part of some teams with some really bad culture. Over the past decade, I've been working with teams, churches, and companies, and I found that most cultures fall into one of four categories. I call this framework the 4 culture archetypes. This framework will help you diagnose your current culture, identify common symptoms of healthy and unhealthy teams, and it will give you practical next steps to level up your culture. Let's start with the first culture archetype. Number 1, dysfunctional culture. This is the basement. It's toxic, it's territorial, it's trustless. In a dysfunctional culture, people aren't showing up to thrive, they're showing up to survive. Here's what it oftentimes looks like: siloed departments, leadership distrust, passive-aggressive communication, more gossip than growth. You know what it feels like if you've ever been a part of this kind of culture. Tension, politics, lack of clarity. It's when people leave meetings more confused than when they came in. Now here's the danger with this culture. If dysfunction goes unaddressed, your best people leave and your worst behaviors stay. Oh, that's tough. Number 1 is the dysfunctional culture, but number 2 is the declining culture. This is the culture that used to be strong. Maybe 5 years ago, it was electric. Now it's coasting or even crumbling. Here's how you know. Everyone's talking about the good old days. The mission feels fuzzy, momentum is gone, turnover is rising, energy is fading. In declining cultures, yesterday's success has become today's ceiling. And if you don't intervene, that ceiling becomes your culture's coffin. So number 1 is a dysfunctional culture. Number 2 is a declining culture. And here's number 3, a developing culture. This one's exciting. It's not perfect, but it's progressing. There's a healthy level of hunger and humility. Here's what you'll see in this kind of culture. Leaders are learning. Feedback is welcomed. Mistakes are mined for gold. Core values are becoming core behaviors. This is a team that says we're not where we want to be, but we're not where we used to be. They're building systems. They're growing people. They're creating clarity. They're not leading with ego. Number 1, we got a dysfunctional culture. Number 2, we've got a declining culture. Number 3, we've got a developing culture. And here's number 4, a dynasty culture. This is the kind of culture that outlives the founder. It multiplies leaders. It sustains excellence. It builds legacy. You'll know you're in a dynasty culture when excellence is normalized, not exceptional. Core values are alive in every meeting. The mission is driving innovation, not stifling it. Leaders aren't just performing, they're producing other leaders. Dynasties don't happen by accident. They're built with intention. They're sustained with discipline. And they're powered by aligned people who believe in something bigger than themselves. And here's the thing, you'll never drift into a culture that you desire. You only get there by design, not default. If you're curious where your organization stands, I've built an assessment that your team can take together. It measures alignment across 4 key areas and reveals which of these 4 cultures you're actually carrying. Grab the free Culture Archetype Kit in the description if you want to dig deeper. So we just covered the 4 culture archetypes. Now you might be asking, so how do we build a culture that lasts? A culture that multiplies leaders, reinforces values, and lives far beyond a mission statement. I want to introduce you to a framework I use called the 3 C's of culture. You got to clarify it, carry it, and coach it. It's simple, it's sticky, and it's extremely powerful. Now, before we break it down, let me point you to the greatest leader of all time, Jesus. He's the one who inspired this framework. He started a movement over 2,000 years ago that's still going strong today. He clarified the culture when he said things like, the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve. He carried this culture. He didn't just preach humility, he knelt and washed his disciples' feet. And he also coached this culture. He confronted pride, corrected mindsets, and reminded his team again and again who they were and what they were called to. If Jesus, the greatest leader in history, had to repeat values for 3 years straight, who are we to think that we don't have to? So let's break down each of the 3 C's and talk about how to start building them in your culture today. Number 1, you gotta clarify it. If you don't define who you are, you'll become who you never intended to be. Winners design culture. Everyone else defaults into dysfunction. Here's what I've learned. Values must be emotional. If they don't move you, they won't move your team. A different culture won't be built by indifferent people. You need conviction about your value. To the degree you are convinced, you will be convincing. Here's a story that I love to share. Yogi Roth is a college football analyst for the Pac-12 network and a good friend. Before games, he meets with players and coaches from both teams and always asks them about their mission and their values. Yogi said the team with the most aligned answers every time is the team that wins. Because friends, here's what we need to catch. Clarity builds alignment, and alignment builds impact. Here's an exercise that you can do if you have defined your core values and you want to see if they're clear. Ask your team these questions. Can you define our values? Can you name a time recently when I lived those values out? Yes, I said I as in you, leader. Because if your team can't point to your behavior reflecting the values, then they're just words on a wall or on a website. They're not a culture that you carry. Right now, if your values aren't clear, if you would answer no to that question, then I want you to clarify them, because you can't live what you don't understand. If we're gonna start building a culture that lasts, we need to, number 1, clarify it. And number 2, we need to carry it. Once you clarify your culture, you've got to carry it, because here's the truth. What you model is what gets multiplied. You can't just preach it. You have to be it. You have to embrace it. You have to embody it. Culture has to be taught, but it's mostly caught. Leader, you are the thermostat for your team. You set the temperature. You decide whether it's cold and critical or warm and courageous. If you carry honor, peace, humility, and excellence, your team will catch it. But if you carry fear, cynicism, gossip, or stress, they'll catch that too. They catch what you carry. And here's the line that's hard to hear, but it's worth wrestling with if you're a leader. Whatever the team is lacking is probably lacking in you. Let me tell you a quick story. We were on vacation in Florida, 8 hours at the beach with 3 kids under the age of 7. In what felt like 100+ degree weather. Oh, that Florida heat hits different. At the end of our beach day, I was hauling chairs, umbrellas, all sorts of stuff on my back. I had everything on my back but my sanity. My 3-year-old, he was taking about 10 steps and then he would stop and cry. He was done. But so was I. We finally get to the car, and from the back seat, I hear my 3-year-old yell, "Can we just get the hell out of here?" Now, I'm a pastor, so I froze and had to hold a laugh back. I looked at my wife and I said, "I didn't teach him that, did you?" Our older kids yell from the back, "Grandma says it." It was funny, but it was also a leadership lesson. What we carry, the people around us catch. So if you're serious about building culture, don't just talk it, carry it, embody it, live it. Because the culture that walks in you runs in your team. If we're going to start building a culture that lasts, we need to, number 1, clarify it. Number 2, we got to carry it. And here's number 3, and this might be the hardest one for leaders. We've got to coach it. Let's be honest. Culture left alone doesn't grow, it drifts. Even if you clarify it and carry it, you've got to coach it too. That means you celebrate it when people live it, you correct it when people miss it. You reinforce it until it becomes what you want it to become. When you're sick of saying it, they're just starting to hear it. Because culture isn't built in a moment, it's shaped through moments of coaching. The strength of your organization rests in the strength of its people. That's why coaching is how we build people who build culture. You have to coach the people up. You don't just find great leaders, you build them. You don't just stumble into strong culture, you coach it into existence. So what does great coaching look like? Here's a framework that I love. I can't remember if I got this framework from Mac Lake or somewhere else, but we will give him the credit. You gotta, number one, be kind. 2, you gotta be clear. 3, you gotta be specific. And 4, you need to be sincere. Kind does not mean soft. It means caring enough to speak the truth. Clear eliminates confusion. Be honest. Specific makes feedback actionable. Sincere makes it land. Your tone matters. If you're vague, it gets missed. If you're harsh, it gets rejected. Try this framework the next time you're coaching. Here's the thing, when you're kind, clear, specific, and sincere, it gets through. Great cultures are built by design, not by default. That's why we have to be intentional. Not just hoping people get it, but actually coaching them into it. Jesus did this too. When his disciples argued about who was the greatest, he didn't just ignore it or explode on them. He coached them back to the standard. You can't expect what you're unwilling to inspect. So if you want to build a legacy culture, don't just cast vision, coach values. If we're going to start building a culture that lasts, we need to, number one, clarify it. Number 2, we need to carry it. And number 3, maybe the hardest one, we need to coach it. Now let's take some action. This isn't just theory, it's an invitation to build something better, starting right here, right now. Here are 3 questions that you need to ask yourself on the backside of this teaching. What values do I think we carry? And what values do we actually carry? What's one thing in our culture I've been allowing that I need to start addressing? And here's number 3. What part of our culture is missing me because I haven't been modeling it? Now let's bring it to your team and ask them these questions. Can you define our core values without looking at the wall or the website? Where do you see us living those values? And where are we drifting? And what's one small shift we could make this month to build a better culture? Let's bring it all together. If you want to build a culture that multiplies leaders, not just executes strategy, here's the roadmap. You got to clarify it because clarity creates alignment. Number 2, you got to carry it because what you model gets multiplied. And number 3, you got to coach it because culture isn't a one-time talk. It's a lifestyle that you reinforce. Remember, you don't drift into great culture, you design it. You don't find great teams, you build them. One conversation, one correction, one celebration at a time. I don't know about you, but I loved leaning in with you for this session. I want to thank you for joining me. If this video helped you, please do me a favor. Hit the like button, leave a comment. Man, we love creating dialogue with you. Share it with a leader or team that needs to hear this. And subscribe to this channel if you want more practical, high-performance leadership content just like this. And hey, don't forget to download the Culture Archetype Kit. The assessment is quick, powerful, and it will give you the clarity that you need to take your team to the next level. The link is right below in the description. Until next time, keep leading different. Let's go.